TGIF, everybody. Translation. Thank God I found Face, who agrees with me. Good morning, Brock. Didier, how are you? Kevin, buddy, Hugo, Arena, Ingmar, how are you? Scott, hi, buddy. Everyone doing okay? Yeah. Everyone thankful about this? Good. All right. Let's take a look around. And I really want to stress something today, kind of have a lesson for everyone to consider from one of my mistakes. Um, Blake was warning everybody not to short this, the end, right? He was saying, yesterday he spent a lot of time saying everyone's doing it because it's overbought. Confession, I did it too. I was looking for a correction because I thought yields were going to come in a little bit. And anyway, fade Blake at your own peril. And what's important that I didn't do is almost as important, or maybe even more important, to avoid bad trades as it is to be in a good trade. Because now I have to make up ground for this, and I've been bullish again from all the way down here, and just this wedge, similar to what we're getting in Canada now. It had the same type. Oh yeah, I'm getting ready. Okay. So, all the way, I was bullish looking for, 108, 110 and tried to trade a correction. And also my RSI stuff said not to do it. Anyway, I, just want to let you guys know that you could be doing it for a long time and make mistakes. Okay. I'm out, but it was a mistake. And Blake tried to anyone who was hearing his voice, if you had taken it seriously, you wouldn't have done it. So, um, what I want to talk about now is Canada, which, if you look at this wedge here, yeah, okay, that was smart. But see how US dollar yen broke out of a falling wedge, and we have the same thing here in Canada. Look at where it is. Now, it depends how you draw the line. I have it not breaking out yet, and we did trade over 26, I believe, briefly yesterday. So, maybe we're going to have the same outcome in USD CAD that we had in um, the yen, which went to the top of the wedge. So if we go to the top of the wedge in Canada, I have it anchored all the way up here at 134. Okay, so you're not late because it hasn't broken out yet. Okay, what if you felt late on the yen? Yeah, Aussie has a three drive. I'll show you. Were you late buying the yen here because you didn't buy it here, or you didn't buy it here? So it's going to be the same scenario with Canada, but there may be a chance that we get some type of fib retracement, and I'm going to be ready for it. Okay, I'd love to see 61.8 halfway, 61.8, maybe one more pullback before I think there's going to be an imminent breakout. Maybe some of the weakness in Canada is due to crude. I thought we'd get a three drive. We didn't quite make a new low there in crude. Okay, so someone brought up Aussie, and I pointed this out to my traders yesterday. Look at this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and it's come out of the hole. And maybe we could rally back to 76.80 or so. I'm not declaring this a bottom, but maybe this is the end of a wave and we get some type of fib retracement here in the Aussie. Okay, and as long as the yen is going up, I have a hard time wanting to be long the metals. Gold is hanging right there on, I think I have it, maybe this is it. Yeah, you had this because of the report of an Iranian missile attack on a commercial ship out of from Israel, And with the yen doing that, maybe we are going to get one more pop in yields. There's your 10-year. I mean, the yen is way outperforming what yields are doing. Yields, could still just be correcting before another wave down. There's your 10-year and there's your 30 years. So we're way off the highs. So maybe we get a correction in the coming days in the dollar, some type of pullback in the dollar. But I agree, the strength is um, Aussie. But you can't say it's a great week in Aussie, right? There's a day, it's Friday, so why not look at a weekly? That's not a positive week, but look at where it held too, right where Blake has an alert and what looks to be or appears to be a neckline. So, if we get this rally back to, 77, 78, 77 or and a half, could be a great short for the next move. There is some confluence here on the weekly with this moving average at 72. I think that's a level Blake was talking about anyway. So, Blake, great job in warning people not to short this. I'm not sure if it's broken out of your channel line that you had yesterday. I have one up here around 110.80, but I think on your chart it will be a breakout.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, well, thanks, Dale. I'm sorry to hear that you shorted it, but I mean, you know, and we know we've been doing this so long, and you know what the trader mentality is, right?
yeah, yeah,
You know that when when something it looks overbought or oversold, the tendency is to try to fade it. And I mean, this is I remember specifically about the dollar yen. Uh, Actually, when we rallied from 80 to
oh yeah, that move.
right here in
Yeah,
2012. So we went from the 80s, and I remember this whole move.
yeah, I do
And I
too.
remember and I don't want to talk bad about him, because he's actually a friend of mine, and so I but I remember vividly. This is before him and I knew, well, before we've ever collaborated on anything. But Boris
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Boris and Kathy.
right.
Back then, he used to be on CNBC quite a bit. He hasn't been in a while, but he used to be quite a bit back in those days.
Yeah,
Back
they
when they
still put
were,
him on.
huh?
I still see him occasionally.
Yeah, and I do too, I guess. But and he was on more often. He was on like pretty regularly, actually, at that time, because he lives in New York. They were just finished going on their own thing, but they were just finished with uh, Daily FX or FXCM at the time. And anyway, I remember him just like we were right around, I want to say right in the mid 90s, somewhere around here. And he was just like, yeah, I would, I'd be selling dollar yen, and I'm just like, and I've already been into that. I was long, and this is why I remember it so vividly. But I was like, man, I'm telling you, this is a big move, and it was right as Abe, um, and his three pronged approach, economic approach, or whatever it was. And anyway, Boris was talking about fading, and I'm like, dude, this thing could be more overbought. I'm just telling you. And I'm just thinking to myself, and I was actually telling people on the Morning Edge at the time, and I didn't, again, I have a very tough time bad mouthing people publicly, so I don't think I've ever told this story, actually, um, but I did tell people at that moment, hey, there's, some people on like the, TV that are, telling you that, this is overbought, but I really don't think it is. But anyway, the reason why I point that out is because when the normal trader mentality is when you see a rally. Whoops, here, let me go back to where we're at. You see a big rally,
Yeah,
or a big sell off, and it's just consolidating, and you're like, man, it's going to turn the first thing that most people will do is like, okay, I'm going to fade that move.
Yeah, just
And
for a little correction. I mean, I'm bullish. I know the trend is up, but I'm just telling you what went through my head. I've been bullish, and I said,
Psychologically speaking, it's
yeah,
one of the biggest human flaws. The fact that our brain always works in comparative mode, meaning once something costed something, X, and now it
yeah,
costs X plus something,
yeah,
your brain always does the comparison and you feel that it's expensive, irrespective
yep.
of the fact that it might have been extremely cheap and it might have a long way to go.
When
Yeah.
Blake,
Yeah.
when you took that long-term look at the yen on that big move that we had, the last several years just looked like they consolidated the gains and were breaking out from all that consolidation. You had a huge move up, then we went sideways for years, and now we're breaking out. If you show that same picture going all the way back to that big move that you were talking about, this almost looks like, some type of and look how strong it was with interest rates going down. It didn't go down with yields when yields were 0.4. So
Yep.
I mean, it looks great.
Yeah, the dollar yen can theoretically be trading back at 115 to 120
Yeah.
without much issue. Now, I think we're all probably sitting here going, yeah, well, what if, stocks come down? I mean, you're watching like, right. And since you mentioned
Yeah, that
yields,
was my other rationalization.
yeah, well, and that's, and look, that's normal. And I agree with you. I mean, we have yields that are rallying this morning. Nasdaq's getting crushed. Nasdaq's on its lows, and Nasdaq's actually selling off pretty aggressively right now. And you look at the difference between, well, what, the S&P is just kind of sitting there. I think the S&P is like middle of the road at the moment. But you look at the Nasdaq getting smashed right now as yields are going higher. But look at the Dow. Dow's at its
Yeah.
highs because this is a yield move. So you got yields moving higher, dollar yen moving higher, dollar Swiss moving higher. As I been warning you guys, these are the two currency pairs that are going to move up if yields go up. But what happens if stocks take notice? Stocks go, wait a second. Yields are going higher. That's not going to be good for equities. Equities start coming down. Is that going to eventually turn the dollar yen lower? And that's a total, like, that's
Reasonable.
an argument, Dale.
Yeah.
And I think it's a valid argument that you had, talking about yields, and could it have a positive effect on the yen? So anyway, that's what I was thinking, or I'm sure what you were thinking, Dale, and I don't disagree with you. The problem is, and this was also the one last thing I should mention here, the risk reward to be short, that for anybody that was short, it made sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
risking the highs, risking 30.
yeah, you're risking the highs. So what? You short, let's just say you short at 109, you stops at above 109.30.
Yeah.
Why can't you take that risk when you're up against a multi-year trend line? I mean, you got to be able to take those shots every time when you see them, So I don't think there's anything wrong with you being short. It's just, I think the price action, is obviously clear in hindsight now. But at that, yesterday we were just looking at like, hey, this thing's not pulling back, and if it's not pulling back, it's probably only got one other direction to go, which is in this case higher. But is it going to have an effect on other dollar pairs? Because we are seeing the dollar move higher. But I also will stop here and I'll say this. I mean, the Aussie, like you look at the Aussie, it's bounced off the neckline that we hit yesterday.
Yeah,
this is the head and shoulder neckline.
Yeah, short term, it was a little 3 drive on a 2 hour or so. So maybe we react back to see that little 1, 2, 3 at the bottom.
1, 2, 3, yeah, and then we had your 3 drive and a little bounce back to previous supports, acting as current resistance. But this is a meager bounce.
It is,
isn't it? I mean, in all actuality, you see it and you're like, wow, it hasn't really done a whole lot. No, it hasn't. And so if you're long the Aussie, you're probably thinking, oh my God, and you look at the Kiwi, the Kiwi bear flag pattern points to, 69 cents. I mean, this is this has been our chart. I mean, if you guys are Forex Analytics subscribers, you know that this is our target. And I mean, look at this sell off and look at the consolidation. This is a very similar consolidation to the dollar yen. It's not bouncing. You may go, well, it did bounce, Blake. It went from 40 to 90. It's a 50 pip bounce. It's a 50 pip bounce, but if you look at it from a Fibonacci standpoint, it's not even a 24% retracement of the last drop. So this is a very bearish move that looks like, in my opinion, we've got at least a move down to 69 cents, if not lower than that. To this bigger breakout point at 68 cents. And the 200-day moving average down here. I mean, this all looks very doable to me. So I would, if you're short the dollar, I think you got to be a little careful. I think the dollar looks, pretty firm. And I know my chart was my chart of the day yesterday.
It was
the euro.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the euro. Yeah. I thought
yeah. You had pretty good downside targets on it. That's correct.
Yeah, and I'm gonna leave you with this, and then I'm gonna go. I'll pass it over to Steve. Do you guys hear that? This is for those of you that know Amanda. Hold on. So Amanda's in the chat room. Yes. She'll never be interviewed, right? So you got to hear this. Wait, hold on.
Webinar online.
That's her voice. There you go. That's her voice. That every time we have
Love that British accent.
All right, Dale, you're never gonna get to interview her.
We do a text interview on Skype.
All right, so I'm going to leave you guys with this because I want to give you an explanation on the euro dollar here. So I think the euro is bearish. We are coming into 161% extension. It's not going to be straight down. I mean, this is just we're gonna have our fits and starts, but I believe the euro is going to 116. It's a pennant. It's obviously I've given you all the reasons about everybody short the dollar, and it's the trade of 2021 was to be short dollars. Euro's going to 130. Everybody fell into the trap. So here we go. Yeah. We're going opposite right now. I do think the euro is going higher. I think probably by the end of this year, we'll be trading back above 120, probably back in the mid 120s maybe. But
yeah, this might be the last good dollar rally to sell for maybe
I 100%
years.
I actually 100% agree with that. So let's just do this out. You guys think about this like 3 or 4 months from now. I'm just want you guys think about what I'm saying, and then come back and see me this summer, and let's see where we're at. This is a whole lot of support, right? A whole lot of support. Like if I'm a long-term investor of euros, like I bought euros. I did the old what was it, the supermodel? Only pay me in euros, don't pay me in dollars anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. Giselle, right?
Yeah.
Right. I did the
and Saddam.
Back at the beginning of the year, like only
when countries do that, they get taken out.
What's that?
When countries or leaders do that, they get taken out.
Well, right here's where they're going to get their stops taken out, in my opinion. So let's like if you look at all this horizontal support, you think about like a 38% retracement from these lows, right?
Yeah.
A lot of support down here. There's going to be a crap ton of buyers, right? Coming in everywhere from 116.80 to 116, and then what I think to complete this flag, we should make it to anywhere between 115.70 to maybe 115, which would be the 50% retracement. And think about this like long-term trend line. So
yeah.
So we come through to the 116 level, trip all the stops. Everybody that's long, everybody that bought in January this year, December of last year, and get them all out. And as we slump through all this support, this is where this right here from 116 down to 115, this is where you want to be long. Like for like Dale said, maybe this is the last big dollar rally you get to sell into. And then from there we go higher. That's how I'm going to play it. Whether I'm right or wrong, or whether we even make it down there, we'll see. But this is I have a master plan in my head that I'm playing into. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's the plan that I have. And when the market moves as I plan it, I tend to be more aggressive and more confident in what I'm doing. So yeah, we get down to 116. I'm going to start buying, and then I'm going to be looking for a move back to 120 by a couple months later.
Nice narrative. I think we all need narratives, don't we, to kind of guide us, or where we don't have a compass.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. I just need an idea of what I want to do, and that helps me through it all, whether or not it comes to fruition. Because a lot of times I think what I have a belief of what I think is going to happen, and it just doesn't transpire. That's just part of it. Hey, but anyway, I want to let, you don't have a guest today, right?
We do.
Steve does.
My friend Dimitris.
Oh, that's right. Dimitri, that's right. Okay. And I met Dimitri, so I'll stick around.
Yeah, you have.
What?
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. We've had dinner together.
Yeah, we had dinner. And by the way, just so you guys know, this restaurant, I still remember it. It was the coolest restaurant because it was in Athens, right? And it was on the water, and there was lights underneath the restaurant, underneath the pier, so you could see through the water at night, because the Aegean Sea is the most beautiful sea. It's arguably prettier than Hawaii. Now, I know a lot of people would say that it's not, but I guess it's more preference. Anyway, Steve took myself, my sister, and Dimitri was there, and his wife, and we all went out to dinner, and that was such an awesome restaurant. I bet it's not even there anymore, is it?
It is, but it's currently, of course, closed as everything else. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So that was cool. So I can't wait to hear Dimitri. I'll say hi and then shut up. But Steve, Stelios, I know Stelios had to step away from his desk for a second. So what's going on? And by the way, I just wanted to also mention, and something I needed to mention, the Suez. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, Suez Canal.
Suez Canal. It's still blocked. But the ship's probably going to be unstuck this weekend, I'm assuming. And let's think about that. Crude has had this massive rally, right? The other day, we had this massive rally 2 days ago. Yesterday we kind of gave it all back, but I look at crude. Let's imagine the ship's not going to be stuck there forever, right? I mean,
that's the only certainty.
yeah, it will be moved. And so, is there some supply disruption? Sure. Is it enough to have created a change in trend than what we've been experiencing the last couple of weeks? My 2 cents is no. So I'm not a good crude trader, so I'm not going to sit here and just short crude, because I'm just not. If I want to make crude go up, I should short it right now, but I'm not going to. But I'm good at calling it. So I would think, man, if you want to trade out there, and you usually trade crude, selling crude here with a stop above maybe 61.50 and looking for a move back down to the mid 50s, I think that's the right trade.
I agree with you, Blake. I think the path of least resistance in the short term remains lower. I think we need to see a deeper correction before we can resume the upside.
I agree. I think we'll probably see, we'll be back in the 40s and then back in the 60s later. So anyway, my 2 cents. Steve, I'm going to pass it over to you and let you do the talking, since you have the interview coming. So I'll stop sharing. And I want to say, TGIF to everybody. Thank you all for your support always. Hey, by the way, if you're watching this live on YouTube,
Oh yeah.
give us a
I
thumbs up.
forgot.
Helps our algorithms on our YouTube, just to kind of spread the word. Also, feel free to comment on YouTube.
Exactly. That helps as well. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, comment on there, and give us your thoughts about things that you're seeing. Get the conversation started. We'd love to chat with you. I'm gonna start getting on YouTube just to chat with you guys, and I'm gonna try to be more interactive there and respond as best I can. So that's it.
Yep.
I'm done.
I just read
All right.
a question for you, Dale, from Christian. Hey, Dale, I'll be in and out during the webinar this morning, but I was wondering if you could explain how to find confirmed highs, lows using RSI. I understand divergence, but I've never heard of confirmed highs, lows. Thanks.
Okay. So
That's
Christian,
directed to you, Dale.
yeah, Christian, when a market is making a new high and you're using RSI and the RSI is making a new high as well with price, that's a confirmed high. That's a difference between divergence, and a confirmed high is going to tell you that's a trend, and you get confirmed highs, you buy the pullback because there's a high probability that the confirmed high is not going to stand. It's just going to be a temporary.
Exactly. In essence, contrary to what sentiment says, which we were explaining before, and the fallacy in the human psychology, the best confirmation that you have a strong trend is getting frequent overbought or oversold, of course, if we're talking about downtrend readings. So in essence, a confirmation that momentum is strong. That's exactly what you want to see.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that you should be buying when RSI is at 80, right? Or it doesn't mean you should be selling when RSI is at 15 or like 20. But it definitely means that once you see readings like that, you more or less acknowledge that there is a strong trend, which means that if it's an uptrend and you're seeing overbought levels, you should seriously consider that corrective moves lower should be bought instead of faded, right?
Especially not just the reading, but when you get a new high in the move and the RSI is making a new high, not just being overbought, but it's confirming the move. That's confirming the move. So that means the move is confirmed, and if you do get a pullback, it's not a shorting opportunity when you have confirmed highs. It's not a shorting opportunity when you have confirmed lows. I hope that helps them.
Okay, so some highlights before we go to the conversation we're going to have with Mitris. I'm really happy to have him on board. The highlights of the past 24 hours, in my opinion, have been A, the USD yen breaking out. Blake already mentioned it. And if you remember, I kept saying that this consolidation was corrective. I kept repeating, I don't know if it's going to prove to be a triangle or a flag. It ended up being a triangle, right?
Yep.
So we've now broken out. Now, given that it's a triangle, I would be careful in the very short term, because frequently, soon after you get new highs, after a triangle, you get a pullback. So keep that in mind. But that doesn't change the fact that USD yen seems to have turned higher after a long period of consolidation and or depreciating in a way that was completely uninspiring. You can see here we were depreciating, but in a choppy, slow manner, which frequently shows that the market doesn't anymore have the strength to push lower. Now, that was one of the highlights. The second one, Blake mentioned the USD Swiss, which has broken out several days ago from this flag. And I mentioned, if you remember yesterday, that one of the factors that might keep pushing the USD Swiss higher is going to be what looks like a potential breakout in Euro Swiss. So Euro Swiss is attempting to break higher from this triangle today. Of course, still early on the day, admittedly. Still, it's a Friday, right?
Yeah.
Let's first see how we close the day and the week, and we take it from there, irrespective of the comment I just made. It still looks to me like the path of least resistance in the short term should be higher, and that should help the Swissy depreciate further and help push. 1 second, we just had some data. Use personal income minus 7.1 versus minus 7.3 expected, and previous one revised significantly, no, not significantly, sorry, slightly higher from 10 to 10.1. Of course, none of that is going to move the market, just, saying since we had the data. So that's another thing I have my eyes set on. Yesterday, we had weakness early on in the stock markets, but we reversed higher. The only significance here, in my opinion, is the fact that the S&P, which is the barometer for
Risk.
globally for risk, held the confluence of the 50 DMA and this horizontal support area at 3860. So, for the time being, nothing has really changed, meaning, the path of least resistance until proven otherwise. And despite everything we're seeing with the dollar moving higher, with yields being resilient, for the time being, stock indices don't seem to care. And as long as they don't seem to care, you just need to respect the trend, right? Now, I don't think that can last for much, much longer. But, that's just an opinion, not a trading thesis, meaning I'm not trying to fade strength here, right? I want to see something, much bigger for me to consider fading.
How about the fib extensions you have above the market? Do you favor any of them?
As always, the 127% extension and the 161 are always magnets. In this case, 4030 and 4000, what is it, 115. Okay. And then we have the long-term 161.8 of the whole correction of the COVID scare. Yeah, that's also very, very close to the 161.8% extension of the latest pullback at 41.48. So
your cat likes those. Your cat likes
those. She really favors, from what you hear, Aliki really favors the 161.8% extensions. Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. Having said that, let's find out. Let's first, Dimitri, you need to unmute yourself. And let's hear your voice.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Hey, welcome, Dimitri. This is Dale.
Thank you.
Nice,
hey, Dale.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hey, Blake.
Blake.
I could not find my unmute button. Dimitri, how are you? Good to hear your voice.
Hey, it's been a long time. What was it, like more than 10 years ago, wasn't it?
No, I don't think it was that long ago. Maybe 6 years ago. But it was a while ago.
Seven probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Good to hear you and Steven. I can't wait to hear your experiences. It's really nice to have you here, and thank you for being part
Thanks
of our
for having
community.
me here, guys.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you.
Take it away, Steve.
Dale, I think you should start with your following with your usual question.
Okay.
How did Dimitris find himself involved in this industry, right?
Yeah, Dimitri, who do you blame for ending up in the industry, buddy? What was your journey? I mean, what were you doing before you got into trading? And
before he even begins to answer that, because he's not going to say it, I'm going to go even further back in time. I'm going to tell you, because he's humble, he's not going to say it. I'm going to tell you that we were classmates in the best school of Greece, and Dimitris was the best of the best in school. He actually made it to his first choice in the university, which was the Economic School of Athens, number one. He entered as the number one among all students in Greece. So you understand he's a bright guy, and take it from here.
So
Dimitri.
why would a bright guy like you, Dimitri? I know it's challenging and it's interesting, but it can be a tough road. trading, especially until you master it. Did you have some your learning curve? Why don't we just start there then? Your learning curve. How did you learn how to trade? Did you have mentors? Are you self-taught?
Um, well, I started like my first job, let's say in the industry was um, as a student when I was still in Greece as a university student. I was looking for a job, and my uncle actually introduced me um, to some friends he had in a brokerage firm. So I got there my first job as a student. That was like for a brief period of time, like a year or so.
Like an internship?
Stock brokerage. Yeah.
Yeah, stock brokerage, sort of an internship. Well, it wasn't an internship because I ended up, staying there for a year.
Okay.
But it wasn't. Yeah, it was mostly, of course. Yeah, you had some.
You were cold
responsibilities,
calling.
but no, it wasn't
No?
cold calling. You just had to do mostly administrative stuff, but you also get
Okay.
to observe what is happening, and
Yeah.
it's the
Boring.
first introduction to the, let's say, to the business.
Right.
And after that, I knew that this is going to be temporary anyways, because I was planning to go abroad for my master's. So I went to Germany for my master's, and then as was I was approaching the end of the studies and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. One of my classmates got a job in a market making firm, and he was just telling us, okay, what is he doing? How is the job and all that. So it sounded pretty interesting, and I applied us there as well. And yeah, I got the job. That was back in 2007.
Ingmar is asking which university in Germany, Dimitri. I remember you were in Berlin.
It was the Humboldt Universität.
Okay.
So yeah, I started in 2007, just before the big crash in the financial crisis, and as a market maker, first in equity options and then index options for the first 4 years in equity options, and then the next 9-10 years almost index options. So yeah, that's
okay. Well, a lot of people, including I believe Steve, Stelios, come in with these, excellent economic fundamentals and understand all the mechanics and supply and demand and all these things, and they realize after a while that they need a timing tool to help them, because their narratives could be correct, but they could be early. The market doesn't recognize it yet, and that most things that you learn at the university level doesn't really help you in trading. Am I reading you correct, Steve? That's what you told us in the past?
Actually, first of all, as I've said in the past, I think the economics the vast majority of universities teach are completely detached from reality and the real economy, first of all. Second of all, especially during the past 15 years, we live in an era that fundamentals, even if you know the right fundamentals, the market doesn't follow them, because the market follows just liquidity
Momentum.
and monetary policy.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I think Dimitris is going to testify to that, because he's been in this industry for a long period of time, and they've seen price and price action. Actually, why don't you start, Dimitri, by telling us, what does a market, many people don't know, what does a market maker actually do? What is the business model? I mean,
sure. So let's say a market maker is a market participant who is, let's say, buying and selling securities for his own account. and at prices that he continuously displays in the exchange trading system. When you let's say log in your trading account and you see the bid-ask spread you see on your screens, these are all quoted by market makers. They continuously quote and provide liquidity, and basically you're ensuring that there's always a willing buyer and seller for the products people want to trade.
And how do you make money as a market maker?
Capturing the spread, Dimitri, is that also
yes, from
part
the
of it?
bid-ask spread. Basically, you have a theoretical you have a theoretical price for the security you're trading, and then you're quoting around this fair value that you see, which of course is not a static number. It's just you adjust it all the time as more as the market conditions change, and you quote around this fair value. That's the main function of the market maker.
And is that done? I know, for example, that you were in the S&P desk. Is that only done by humans, or part of the function is done algorithmically?
These days, that all the exchanges have moved on the screens. It's all electronic trading. Of course, there's still some trading floors in the US, and some actually pretty active ones, like the CME and the CBOE pits. But these tend to be the exception these days. Everything's done pretty much electronically. All these things, you quote all these quotes you see in the system. It's just you need automated systems to do it for you, because we're talking about thousands of instruments and basically thousands of different stocks or option series or whatever basically you're trading. We're talking about thousands of instruments. If you consider how many strikes you have, how many expiries, and so on. So all these things need to be automated. But of course, you also have the more old school way, where you still have trading in the pit. So let's say the floor trader will provide the quote, and it's gonna be just voice trading there. And
did you also have for your company floor traders in the pits?
The market makers are all the market makers have presence in the floor if they're trading this product. Yes. And of course, you also have you can also have quoting prices to brokers. So because a lot of these market participants, they don't go necessarily on the screen to trade electronically. They might want to call their broker, and the broker, of course, has to call around and find the best possible price for the client. So he will have to call. The first stop for the broker is the market makers, of course, to get an initial quote, and then from then on, it's just a negotiating process, because some people are going to be more willing buyers, some people are going to be more willing sellers, and you will hopefully you reach you basically get a trade. But the vast majority is electronic these days.
Yeah, makes sense. We live in
Dimitri,
2021.
when you started trading for yourself, having been a market maker, did you start off doing a lot of short-term trading, and is that still the case, or
basically, Dale, to give you some context here, Dimitri Dimitris just quit after 13 and a half years very, very, very recently. As you know, as long as he was working, he was not allowed to be a short-term trader in anything
I see.
for obvious
Okay.
reasons.
Yeah.
So yes,
I left beginning of this year. So
yes,
um,
but he has
so
started trading for himself
it's
since.
still very very fresh. Took some taking some time off first, but unfortunately you cannot do much with all the travel restrictions currently. So I do some day trading, but this is
New venture.
it's a new thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's something for the long run or something temporary, right? For as long as we are in this situation with the
Okay.
pandemic. But trading, let's say, for yourself is a completely different story, especially if you're just used to for a completely different approach for 14 years almost, and now
Yeah.
just doing it for yourself. It's a completely different game, and takes some
Many floor
adjustment.
traders that made a living off of paper, Dimitri, were not able to make the transition to off the floor trading because they didn't have to know how to trade, right? All they had to do was trade against the paper and try and pick up few points, few pips in between, and they weren't directional traders, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, because we were not our trading. It was not
You weren't
direction.
speculating.
It was not directional. We're not. Our approach is not like, okay, we think the S&P is going to go up or down. This is
although you did get to benefit the more volatility the market had, obviously, right? I mean, in more volatile conditions, market makers make more money, don't they?
You need good trading conditions, I would say, because extreme volatility and erratic markets can harm trading.
No, I'm not talking about extreme volatility, but I'm talking about like a healthy amount of volatility.
But so let's say some healthy amount of volatility brings more trading, because the moment trading picks up, it's you have more people that need to do something, readjust their position or put on new positions, so that you have increased volumes. So that the benefits, of course, trading. But
can I ask you this, Dimitri?
Yeah.
I was a runner on the floor and an out trade clerk and all of that, and I remember floor traders getting in early to handle things called out trades, where during the previous day they thought that all their trades were matched up, and then it comes back, someone doesn't know the trade, and you come in and you're either long or short, and a day has passed and you have to square up the trades. Did out trades happen as a market maker like they did during open outcry for floor traders?
Out trade, you mean electronic?
It probably doesn't happen electronically, but they used to, just record their trades on a card, and they're doing it with hand signals, and they think a trade is executed, and then they come in the next day, and the guy
I see what you mean. No, you still have these things, but I think it's quite rare, in the sense that the remaining trading floors, they all have systems in place to basically match the trades instantly. And if you don't match your trades instantly, then
because
probably you will see it the same day. It's quite unusual. I cannot remember like a case where you just have to wait. It's quite rare. And if it's electronically, of course, you can have some let's call mistrades that happen outside, let's say, in some boundaries that the exchange sets. But and different exchanges have different ways of let's say dealing with these mistrades. So it could be the case that the trade is outside the let's say the fair trade range of the defined by the exchange. So there are some clear rules in most cases, so the trade can be canceled or adjusted to a more fair price. So,
Okay.
yeah.
How about this? Why, after 13 years, what was the catalyst for you just deciding to move on?
Um,
Personal reasons, burnout, you just want to do something different. There's probably many reasons.
it was a combination of different things. It was not, let's say, only one factor that weighed on the decision. It was quite a long time, let's say, especially for a market making job.
Okay.
So yeah, I felt the time. Okay,
Actually, if I remember right, you were one of the oldest there. I mean, they usually people
Yes,
get to stay in this business.
It's very young environment, let's say, which is
Yeah.
also has something to do, of course, with how intense the trading is, in the sense that
Dimitris rarely had vacations. I mean, I don't think there was a year that you took your whole vacation period, right?
No, but that was more like up to me, because I didn't take holidays, but there were people, okay, who would just take their normal holidays. But it was more like up to me. What I mean is, the trading is, since you're all the time in the market, the trading is like continuous. It's not like you're trading for yourself, or in a different capacity where you have a trading idea, you put a trade on, you wait and you see if it works or it doesn't work. As a market maker, you're just there all the time, trading, adjusting. So you have to be very focused. It's very intense. At the same time, it's very exciting, of course, as well. Yeah.
Go ahead, admit it. Your girlfriend wanted you to quit. Yeah, so that you guys could do something else. Come on.
Yeah, but it turns out you cannot do anything else these days. You can just stay home, and you cannot go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I guess
Dimitri,
at some point, it's gonna change.
For so many years working at a market maker, if we are to discuss a little bit about the markets, we have some time. First of all, it's a good idea to take your input on what you think about the current market environment and what people that work professionally in the industry think about. I mean, the no bullshit opinion about what people think for the current market environment. And also, since you were at the position you were able, in essence, to see what the smart money is doing in the markets, because all the flow of the big orders goes through you. So why don't you tell us what you think the smart money is doing, and why don't you also tell us what you think about the current market conditions?
What the current market is, I find it very strange, personally. I don't. Yeah, it's a very, very weird market, considering that the market keeps recovered very fast. Keeps making new highs. Okay, it's been trading now around 3,900 for some time, but anyways, we're all-time highs. And at the same time, like I've seen markets before, like trading at near the all-time highs. It's way more calm, and you can see that also from the VIX and well, a lot of signals. But now the market is at all-time highs with
volatility 20.
VIX above 20. Also, at times very, very nervous. Let's say S&P gets ticks down 0.5%, and just some weird nervousness, and also every time that there is a hint of they might do something with the rates, or we might have let's say one of the Fed members saying something unexpected, the market is just having a nervous breakdown, which is feels pretty weird. Like everything has to be prepared. The market has to be prepared for everything they say. Everything has to be scripted. And if in the, let's say, FMC statement is something not expected, it's very panicky. And
How about this, Dimitri? Do you and the people at the desk and guys you know in the industry believe that there really is a plunge protection team?
That's a good question, actually, Dale.
Do you
yeah,
ever see the flow, or when markets are down hard, all of a sudden they start coming back, and where's the buying coming from? Do you believe in that there's actually a plunge protection team on desk to
No.
come in and support the market when it's under duress?
To be honest, I haven't thought about that, or have never discussed such a thing on the desk. It's also hard for us to have, let's say, such an opinion, because you are trading for your own account and you don't have contact with with people outside. It's not, let's say, if you compare it to a bank trading desk, or let's say a fund, or
you don't have clients you speak with.
The bank talks with the clients. Let's say the fund managers will talk to other fund managers, or with their bank traders, or But for us, it's more, let's say, we're focused on our, you're focused on your screens. Of course, the screens give you a lot of information, because all the trades you're trading continuously, and that's let's say the best information through trading. To such a thing, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't
It's
think.
Just another, conspiracy thing out there that people believe in. I know that Steve probably believes in it. Central planning. Yeah.
What do you think about cryptocurrencies?
I like trading them these days.
Other than that,
I think,
fundamentally speaking,
there is some interesting ideas, or some interesting properties, let's say, in the let's say, when talk about cryptocurrencies, let's talk about Bitcoin, because anyways, everything goes up or down with Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin,
true, and it's anyhow like 60% of the crypto market, or so.
Exactly. So if Bitcoin dies, everything is going to die, I think, with it.
Yes, no disagreement there.
It's definitely quite interesting, the technological part. I see some, after reading and spending more time now reading stuff about it, that there is some in the technology, there is some interesting perhaps application of the technology, and see how, and in general, I mean, moving towards digital currency sounds an interesting idea, but the market, of course, has taken it to to a whole new level. And I guess you see what people are, people are thinking, that is going to take over the world as the one and only currency. And
which, as we were discussing the other day, there is no chance of happening, because
of course, I don't think there's a chance of that happening, and also
because simply central banks are not going to surrender the rein in monetary policy. As simple as that. Of course, they're not going to surrender, and also there is also, from a, let's say, a practical perspective, a lot of things need to happen before it actually starts saying that it's is living, let's say, to some of its hype and potential. And at this stage, I don't see that. I don't see that. I see a very interesting trading instrument for sure, and it's.
Is there a war on cash in Greece and Europe, and about using paper euros and doing everything digitally? I mean, there are now, most businesses don't want to accept cash here in the US. They want your credit, debit cards, and
as you understand,
they're using COVID
exactly has given a very, very good push in that direction.
It has, definitely. I think, I mean, I'm here. I don't remember the last time I used cash. It's like everything is just.
Where do you hide your cash in? And what's your address, Emma? Anyway, you know, I don't know, Steve, how long you want to go, but I've learned from working with a few great guys from Greece how so many words in English have their roots in Greek. And I'm looking at your last name, Dimitri, and you know, it kind of looks like it would have psychology or psychiatry, or that your last name is, you know, probably a great name for market sentiment. Does it have does psychiatry and psychology have its root in your last name?
No.
Okay, I
I,
mean,
I
it's
can tell you
close,
though.
right?
I can tell you though that his father was a mathematician.
Okay, but you know why I'm saying that, right? PSYCH. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
So
No, it has
that
to do with that. I mean, the name. But now, you know, going back to the roots, many people don't know where their names came from. We know what they mean. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? My
Yeah.
name is Vulgaridis, for example. Bulgaria is Bulgaria. Now, I'm
Okay.
assuming that at some point there was like some ancestor, you know,
Yeah,
probably
From there.
from, yeah, or whatever. But who
Yeah.
knows how many generations back? You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was curious.
Yeah.
It was
So
really a
they
pleasure.
all of them mean something, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Nobody, I mean, you know,
I-
since we don't have any more digital, we didn't have back then like digital photography or like e-calendars, you know, that ancestors could keep like notes.
Right. I
Nobody
was going
knows
to ask.
anymore.
I was going to ask Dimitri if I could lay down on the couch and have a session, but anyway, it was a pleasure meeting you, Dimitri. I wish
It was a
you
pleasure being here.
really, you know, great success on your next chapter, and
Thank
that,
you.
hope to hear more from you down the road.
Thank you for having me on your webinar, guys. Is
Great
it
conversation, semi non sequitur recap, crypto, another great conversation providing both sides of the Dogecoin was between Anthony Pompliano and Mike Green on Real Vision. Gives you a lot of things. It says Anthony Kanakis, not the Anthony Kanakis.
what are you saying about the Dogecoin?
No, he proposes like to listen to a conversation. So thanks for the great talk, people say. So thank you for being with us, Dimitri, and we'll do this again at some point in the future for sure.
The half hour just
Flew by, right? I told you in advance.
I was wondering, you know, before you know the show, that okay, what are we going to talk about for half an hour? But you know,
there are always things to talk about.
But if you actually start talking, it, you know, you can actually go on for hours.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
they keep trying to tell me the time. You know, time is over, and you know, most of the times I just run over it.
Yeah. All right,
Well,
guys.
all right. Well, great
Thank
week,
you.
everybody. Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. I hope you guys get your vaccine soon, and you could start.
In Europe, we're not getting vaccines. We're just arguing with AstraZeneca.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I've been reading about that.
What
so-
about in Netherlands, Dimitri? How many? What's the percentage of the population now that you mentioned it that has been vaccinated?
I haven't checked the last few days. I think it's something like 1.5 million. But overall sentiment is that it's going also pretty slowly, as in the rest of Europe. So, yeah, I don't think it's much different than the rest of the continental Europe. They're not easing any restrictions as well. So,
yeah, but you've told me that people have, you know, the more time passes, people just pay attention and follow the restrictions less and less, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
fatigue.
definitely fatigue from the population. They cannot do this thing anymore. I mean, the other day I was trying to have a walk in the park, and a guy approached me without a mask. And there's no mandatory mask
Outside.
for outdoors here, only indoors. So a guy approaches me very closely, and you know, tries to show me something on his phone, like, you know, like he hasn't lived in the pandemic the last year. And he asked me, "Excuse me, where is this place? Because I have a party to go." It's like, you're joking. So I think that's the current state. He was going to a children's party, and it's like, okay.
Did you take his name for the police? You know,
Yeah,
children's
I-
party.
I
don't
am
know.
sure the last time I checked the restrictions, it was like you could have one guest in your house. But okay, but all right.
I'll tell you. Just don't harm the children.
Yeah.
Okay, mate. Have
All
a
right.
wonderful
Well,
rest of the day. See
see
you,
ya.
Forex Analytics members, in 10 minutes.
Dimitri,
Bye,
thank
guys.
you
Thank you.
thank you for being here. I just wanted to jump in and say thanks for being here.
Nice talking to you guys.
Nice
Yeah,
talking to you.
everyone.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, don't just count your pips or your face masks. Count your blessings, and we'll see everyone Monday. We laid it all out there on the floor for you this week. Hope we added value, and I'm a big believer in signing up on a Friday so you have the weekend to relax and learn to navigate the best Forex site on the net. And that's a wrap, everyone. Have a great weekend. Blake, Steve, I'll
Bye-bye, Coach.
see you guys next week. Adios.